Hey guys, welcome back to another video of making a React Native app. So in the previous videos we created 5 screens, and you can see one of the screens here, the home screen. We created a splash screen, login screen, create screen and register screen. Now we're going to make one more screen and this is going to be the main screen, the master screen that controls all the other screens. So we'll call it main. It's fine. That'll indicate that it's in the screens folder and that's the main one. Now why are we doing that? Mainly because we don't necessarily want it all in the app.js file like we currently got, because the structure to which we're going to do for our data storage side, we're going to need the app.js file to be clean, and it's better to have it clean anyways, objectify and everything. So in our main folder we're pretty much going to use all of this anyway, so let's just go ahead and copy our app.js, paste that in. So for here we just add a second dot just like that where all the single dots are. If I can even do dots, there we go, full stop. Cool. All that, get rid of the status bar, that's fine. Now we've got all our screens, so let's go ahead and position them in a way to which we want. So go here, paste that bad boy there. Let's go ahead and get rid of the styles, I believe we don't need that. And let's rename from app to main, and app to main down here as well. Right, so we copied that. Let's go ahead and copy these two again. So we have essentially 5 screens here. So one more time. Now we've got 5 screens. Now the first screen is going to be our splash screen. Right, so that's going to be called splash. Take out splash, and header shown false. I think a lot of these header shown will be false anyways. The home screen won't be. So right, so we got our splash screen. Then it's going to go to our login screen. So let's go ahead and go login like that. From our login, we'll have our register screen here. So these are our authentication screens. These screens are what will allow our users to authenticate, whether that be to login or to register. And then this one will be our home screen, which is fine. And last but not least is our create screen. So these two are our authenticated screen, right? So after the user logs in, they'll see these two screens. Now we kind of need to have a variable here which kind of says is authenticated, is not authenticated. So the way we're going to do that is through our state management, which I'll explain a little bit later, but right now we'll just do some very basic stuff, very easy. Let's say we do const, and we'll say loading. We'll call this is loading, and then set is loading equals react.useState, like that. And by default it'll be true, right? We are loading by default. And now that we're loading, we'll also put a user, so user state. So user set user equals react.useState, and here we'll put just an empty object like that. Now what we're going to do is we'll structure it like this. So let's go ahead and let's keep this as is. On top of the splash screen, let's bring in an object. So inside of here we're saying we're putting dynamic content into our components right inside of stack.navigator. So what we're gonna do is a ternary operator, which is basically if this do that, else do that. So if is loading, then go ahead and show our splash screen. So we'll just bring that up here. Else, now here we'll do another ternary statement, and here we're going to check to see if our user is equal to null, right? So how we're going to do that is, let's go ahead and to our util screen, let's go ahead and create a new JavaScript file, and let's name that, oops, what happened there? Let's name that is empty, just like that. So this is going to be a utility file to which we're going to basically check to see if a value is empty. Now, the way we do that is just we bring in value, and then we'll just say return if it's equal to undefined, or if value is equal to null, or the type of value is equal to object, and our object dot keys from the value dot the length is equal to 0, or our type of value, right? So if the value is string and the value, once we trimmed it, the length is equal to 0. So export default is empty. So you're probably wondering what is going on here. We're basically saying if the value is equal to undefined, return true, which means it's empty. Or if it's equal to null, return true again, which means it's empty. Or if it's an object, check the keys of the object and return, check the keys. Once you've got the keys as an array, we get the length of it, we check if it's 0. If it's 0, then it's empty. Or we check to see if it's a string. So if it's a string here, right, if it's a string, and once we've trimmed it, the value of that string is equal to 0, that means it's empty as well. So now here we'll bring it in and say is empty user. Now we'll need to import that, so let's go up here and just say import is empty from ./utils. Is utils not in here? No, this is our main screen, of course. Utils / is empty. 4 is our app screen then. Right, there we go. So ./utils / is empty. Now once you've done that, is empty user. Now if this is true, oops, is empty. If it's true, we want to go ahead and what is that? Bring in our authentication screens, right? We want to check to see, we want to basically tell the user to authenticate. So what we're going to do is bring out empty brackets like that, and this is basically allows us to put React components within it but not have it part of any body, so it goes directly into this component, the navigator component. Because if we had the view here, the navigator component will throw an error saying it only expects one child, or expects something else. But this way, no, it's only expecting a stack.screen component. Whereas if I bring in a view like this, it'll throw an error saying it's not allowed. So by doing this, it'll put our authentication screens here. So if I copy that, it'll put that directly into our stack.navigator. So these are essentially empty. The reason we need these is because if we try to do it without those, it'll throw an error or warning saying that this isn't allowed. You see, can't do that. So let's do that. Cool. And then, right, if it isn't empty, then we want to go ahead and bring our authenticated screens, right? So here we are, our authenticated screens, just like that. Now no errors, that's all fine. So what we're saying is it loading? Bring our splash screen. If it's not loading, check if the user is empty. If it's empty, bring our authenticated screen. If it's not empty, bring up our Authenticator screen. Now we can do some very simple stuff here. Real quick stuff is create a timer, and of course I've forgotten how to do that, so let's just real quick type out JavaScript how to make a timer. And that's a bit what? Not timer. How to do something after a second. There it is, set timeout. That's what I wanted. So let's go ahead and bring it in. So we'll just paste that here. But what we'll do is use effect, and then create our functional component in there. This should be part of React. So React.useEffect, and here we'll say set timeout, and then here we'll add an arrow function. Our timeout will be 1000 seconds, and inside of there, so we can get rid of this one now. Inside of here we will say set is loading to false, just like that. So after a second it should show the splash screen for a second, and then boom, no longer. And then we should also kind of just say if is loading is true, then do that, and then it'll be false. And then yeah, I mean, we can try that out. Have I got this open? Yeah, so it should refresh. We should, in theory, let's do a hard reload. We should see our splash screen. No, we shouldn't see our splash screen because, you know, I have forgotten to import it. So let's do that. Import main from ./screen/main, and straight up just type main like that. Should be it. Get rid of that. Get rid of those. Save that. Let's try again. Hard reload. Okay, now we've got a splash screen and boom, register screen. So in the next video, I'll show you how to connect them all up, and then we'll do some proper storage management. So see you guys then.